Hello, hello, and welcome back to the channel. As most of you know, I'm Topher, and for those of you who don't know and just randomly decided to click on my video, welcome to the channel. I'm Topher. Thank you for stopping by. So we're here to do a reaction, and we're diving back into It's Okay Not to Be Okay. We are diving into episode 4, and this series is just so good. There's so, I live for every time Moon Young comes on the screen. Everything she wears is just the most fabulous thing in the world. She's just such a fabulous character. But then just the cinematography, the artistry, the soundtrack, the acting, there's just so many good elements about this series. And I'm excited to see where this next episode takes us. If you'd like to gain early access to these reactions and many other reactions, you can join us over on Patreon. You don't have to, but you're more than welcome to if you want to. Honestly, by the time this episode makes it to YouTube, we might already be done with the series over on Patreon, because we still have another 2 weeks before the first episode is set to premiere over on Patreon right now, and we're jumping to episode 4 now. So yeah, if we're not already done with the series, we'll be quite a few numbers of episodes in by the time this episode gets to YouTube. So join us. Only if you want to. It'll eventually make it to YouTube, though. But we're going to just dive in and see where episode 4 takes us. Not 7. We're not on episode 7 yet. So picking up where we left off. Middle of a wild car chase that ended up at this political rally where we started causing a ruckus in this fabulous peacoat.
나 그냥 너랑 놀까?
Maybe. Perhaps.
그럴까?
Why don't we give it a try and then see what happens? I would have taken the microphone before I started grabbing him off stage.
우리 뭐 하고 놀까? 어디 가? 놀고 싶다며.
내가 언제?
허언증 있어?
놀아볼까? 그거 혼잣말 한 거야.
Those were my inner thoughts. I didn't mean to use my outside voice.
좀 아까 아담 안 잡고 그냥 내비둔 거. 내가 잘해서 그런 거잖아.
당신들 뭐야? 병원 쪽 사람이야?
아니, 난 작가. 이쪽은 내 안전핀.
당신들 오늘 일 때문에 우리 의원님 잘못되시면
잘못되면.
각오 단단히 하는 게 좋을 거야.
어머 그래요? 아이고 무시가. 아이고 나 죽겠네. 이를 어쩐다.
이 여자가 진짜.
Oh, you gonna lay hands on her right here in front of God and everybody for no damn reason? Sir, I would like to see you try.
당신들 지금 감당 못할 짓 한 거야. 각오해.
형, 나 오늘 다 잃었다. 태어난 오늘 제일 신났어. 그러니까 그 누나한테 절대 뭐라고 하지 마요. 어? 어?
He said, don't be mad at her. I had a great day.
주씨.
엄마, 나 이제 좀 괜찮.
공개적으로 집안 망신시키니까 이제 속 시원하니?
Y'all locked me in an insane asylum.
기어이 똥치라니까. 이제 살 것 같아?
엄마, 나 그냥
왜 하필 내 뱃속에서?
See, it's comments like that why we're in the situation right now. If y'all had just treated me like a human with compassion, maybe I wouldn't have gone through all of this.
왜 죽자고 달려들어? 이 사단을 내! 이 대신아!
So you're a terrible family to me, and then you want to start yelling and screaming at me when I act out because y'all were terrible to me my whole life.
우리 엄마 좀 되게 맵네. 애정이 담기면 이게 맞아도 기분이 안 나빠, 이상해.
I mean, let's not spin that narrative now.
너 왜 그랬어? 왜 형 먼저 집에 보냈어? 네가 종일 옆에 붙어 있었어야지. 형이 애들한테 맞고 있을 때 너 뭐 했어? 옆에서 형 지켜주라고 비싼 도장까지 보내줬더니 꼴로 들어오게 만들어!
당신처럼 일찍 안 죽어. 나 엄청 오래 살 거야.
Well,
우리 상태
that promise didn't age
늙어
well.
죽는 것까지 보고. 엄마? 아유, 우리 새끼 깼어요. 아야. 강태야, 응? 너는 죽을 때까지 형 옆에 있어야 돼. 키우는 건 엄마가 할 테니까 너는 지켜주고 챙겨주고 그러면 돼. 알았지? 엄마가 너 그러라고 낳았어.
Lord, it's a terrible thing to say. I gave birth to you because I loved you and I wanted a child. Not I gave birth to you so you could take care of my firstborn.
우리도 출발해.
놀러 가는 거야?
곧장 병원으로 가. 규정 속도 지키고.
It's like, that shit don't sound like fun.
네가 내 차 안 탔잖아? 그럼 너 납치하려고 했다?
납치가 취미야?
부러워했잖아, 아담이 놀 때. 나도 저렇게 프로헤치고 실컷 놀아봤으면 얼굴에 그렇게 써있던데? 원하면 말해. 내가 납치해서 놀자판 제대로 만들어줄게. 아주 뻔하게.
You let me know when you're ready, baby, and I will kidnap the hell out of you.
에이씨, 난 이렇게 잔잔바리로 떨어지는 것들이 제일 싫어.
I mean, I can see how it would be annoying to get them in your car, but they're still beautiful to see.
난 목련이 좋더라. 찔 때 모가지가 한 방에 나가 떨어지는 게 화끈해서 예뻐.
아니, 비유를 해도 꼭
비유가 너무 꽃 같지?
그래. 어울리네, 목련.
넌 무슨 꽃 좋아해?
안 좋아해. 봄이 오는 게 싫어.
왜?
또 떠나야 되니까.
밥 먹으러 가자더니 이딴 걸 먹여?
빨리 먹고 가서 교대해야 돼. 삼각김밥도 사줘?
됐어.
Like the nerve, you buy me this convenience store nonsense.
네. 잠시만요. 먹고 있어.
I thought we were going for fine dining. And
에이씨, 김치도 없고 제 돈 은근히 안 쓰네. 궁한 건 참아도 비난 건 싫은데.
무슨 일이시죠?
무슨 일 없으시죠?
네?
다행이네요.
뭐래?
보사님, 저 혹시나 해서 묻는 건데 우리 고 작가가 혹시 보사님한테 아우 이쁘다, 아우 탐난다, 뭐 그런 비슷한 말 한 적 있어요?
yes, yes, she has.
왜 하필 나야?
자꾸 탐이
By coincidence,
그러니까
this is a habit.
예뻐서.
Am I not special?
들었구만, 들었어.
들었으면요.
자, 지금부터 내가 하는 말 잘 들어요. 걔가 하는 그 탐난다라는 소리는 그 배고프다라는 것과 같은 의미거든. 그러니까 곧 잡아먹겠다는 뭐 선전포고 같은 걸로 한 그게.
그래서요.
지금 보호사님이나 나나 아주 그냥 초 비상 사태라 이겁니다. 가뜩이나 이번 신작까지 판매 금지당한 마당에 걔가 지금 거기서 한가롭게 보호사님이랑 노닥거릴 여유가 없어요. 빨리 다음 작품 써야
It's like, oh, this man is so fat. Me. Why is this me?
아무튼 지금 제가 내려가서 어떻게든 끌고 올라올 거니까 그때까지만 부디 잘 살아서 아니 부디 잘
Try to
버텨주십시오.
stay alive.
예.
I had no plans of
많이
dying.
빌어요.
이번에 나온 책 판매 금지당했다며.
김비아이?
혹시 저번에 그 일 때문이야? 우리 형
욕하고 머리채 좀 잡았다고 판매 금지까지 때리진 않지. 그냥 사파락 내용이 애들 보기 너무 잔혹하대. 병신들이 팔자 뒤에 감춰진 진짜 메시지를 못 봐요. 에이씨.
메시지가 뭔데?
읽어봐. 감상평 궁금해.
나 동화책 읽을 나이가 아니야.
읽을 나이 같은데?
Like, I think it'll do just well for you.
너 몇 살이야?
Rude? The nerve.
알지. 에이. 근데 네가
A legal
애인 것
kid.
같은데.
I'm of legal age.
내가 왜
You can feel comfortable looking at me because I'm of legal age.
예쁨 받고 싶어하는 게 보여.
Come on, soundtrack. Again, so much of this series is just them staring at each other, and I love it. But I'm gonna call it out every time. You know, if this were a drinking game, that would be one moment where you guys would take a shot. Every time Topher mentions the show is nothing but them staring at each other.
들지 마. 남 떠드는 소리 듣기 싫어.
So don't you dare touch my radio.
네 목소리 들을래. 아무 말이나 해봐.
I just want to hear the sound of your voice.
나한테 할 말이 그렇게 없어?
아버지 산책은 왜 안 시켜? 원장님이랑 약속했잖아.
약속. 그딴 건 코 풀고 버리는 휴지 같은 거야. 볼일 봤으면 버려야지. 어차피 치매 환자야. 영혼은 죽고 가족만 남은 빈 껍데기. 그딴 걸 왜 끌고 다녀? 시간 아깝게.
So,
그냥 죽어버리면 편할 텐데.
I mean, she's got feelings
니네
towards
부모님은 왜
him.
돌아가셨어?
So,
그걸 네가 어떻게 알아?
뒤에서 좀 알아봤지. 그냥 가벼운 호구조사 정도야. 물건 살 때도 생산지나 유통기한 정도 보고 사는데. 뭐 그 정도야 할 수 있지 뭐.
물건? 사람이 너한텐 물건이야?
다를 건 뭐야. 자식도 부모가 유통기한 지나서 썩은 내 진동은 버리는 거고, 부모도 이쁜 짓 많이 하는 자식은 품고 못나고 쓰잘데기 없는 애는 버리는 거지. 아담, 걔도 그런 거 아니야?
세워.
응? 왜?
차 세우라고.
왜? 오줌 마려?
shout? You were making me almost drive off the cliff, girl.
갑자기 왜 그러는데? 왜 화를 내? 이유가 뭐냐고? 야!
It's like you just have a way of speaking that
때문에 빡쳤는데?
is so detached. He's not here for it.
내가 까먹었어.
뭘?
네가 남들이랑 다른 사람인 걸 잠깐 까먹었어.
사랑해.
Do you, or is that what you think he wanted to hear? Child.
사랑해 강태 씨.
I don't buy it.
사랑한다고. 사랑한다니까. 진짜 너무너무 사랑해.
I'm saying the words. Why aren't you stopping it?
또 도망치냐? 내가 사랑한다는데 왜 도망쳐? 왜? 사랑해. 야! 사랑해. 사랑한다고. 야!
Lord. Look, I'm saying the words. Why isn't it working? I don't mean a damn thing I'm saying, but these are the words I'm supposed to say in a situation like this, right? That's what the movies told me. You would not catch me dead, sleeping in front of this spooky castle with my windows down.
어떻게 사람이 살 수나 있겠냐? 어? 문영아, 우리 서울 가자. 어? 고급 호텔에서 우아 떨면서 차기작 얼른 써야지. 어?
잠작살 흘린 지 며칠이나 됐다고.
네가 그 작가이기 전에 셀럽이란 걸 내가 간과했다. 대중들한테 존재감을 드러내지 않은 셀럽은 금방 잊혀져요. 대중들 머릿속에 휘발유 있다. 어? 금방 싹 날아가.
싫어 안 가. 여기서 놀 거야.
문영아, 놀아도 우리 서울 가서 놀자. 어? 너 여기 있으면 절대 안 돼. 너 알잖아. 니네 어머님이 여기서.
그럼 나랑 여기서 같이 살래?
Huh?
어?
I would
Yeah.
like to see more Mr. Lee, yes.
너 많이 피곤해 보인다. 어. 일단 좀 쉬어. 내가 내일 다시 연락할게. 나 먼저 간다.
네가 남들이랑 다른 사람인 걸 잠깐 까먹었어.
Lord. Again, I don't know how much of this is hallucination, how much of this is actual ghosts coming to life.
넌 남들이랑 달라.
I got
이
questions.
한판 시키면 캐리커처가 공짜라면서요?
아, 예. 근데 그게 나지만 하는 서비스라 죄송합니다.
낚았네. 낚였어.
Not yet, but play your cards right and I
어떻게
could.
낚아서 서울로 데리고 올라가나?
오빠.
Are we setting up a love interest with? Okay.
저 윙이랑 맥주 한 잔 주세요.
웬일이야? 술은 입에도 안 대요, 내가.
그냥 딱 한 잔만 하려고.
뭐야? 너 병원에서 무슨 일 있었구나?
응?
모르겠다. 내가 같이 마셔줄게.
아니요, 사장님은 장사하시고 술을 혼자 마실게.
So I would like to drink alone. You stay working, sir.
저도 오늘 혼자입니다. 합석 안 하실래요?
I mean, not if you keep twitching your neck like this, baby.
네, 됐어요.
죄송합니다.
Oh, not you shoving this entire piece down your. What that mouth do, Mr. Lee? I see you. Unhinged his jaw and just swallowed it whole. I ain't mad at him.
비켜주세요. 비켜주세요.
뭐야? 뭐야? 아저씨 괜찮아요? 예?
깡패가.
정신 나간 납치해서 내 유세장에 끌건 그 미친년, 그년하고 한편 먹은 그 보호사놈, 그런 모질런 놈들 하나 통제 못해서 내 명성에 똥칠한 병원장 내 앞에 무릎 꿇어. 끌고 와!
I don't think she will. It's like you can try and make her, but I don't think she will.
선배 이제 큰일 났다. 완전 좆됐어요.
어떡해요?
But again, I was not on shift. I was not on the clock at that point. He got out before I was on shift. I don't know why I'm responsible.
하지 마요.
왜요?
그냥 저 혼자 올라갈게요.
Not again. Not you out here taking the blame for everything again.
네.
I need you to stop doing this, Gangtae. Lord.
그러게 내가 분명 경고했죠.
You shut your damn mouth.
왜 혼자야? 너랑 한 패 먹은 그년 어디 있고?
안 올 겁니다. 올 필요가 없어서요.
걔가 주범인데 누구 맘대로 안 와?
아드님은 본인 자의로 탈환한 거지. 누가 억지로 데려간 게 아니야.
야, 그 새끼 환자야. 툭하면 버섯 제끼고 아무 데서나 오줌 질질 싸고 하룻밤에도 수천만 원씩 물수도 써 제끼는 정신병자. 그래서 내가 함부로 못 쏟아내게 하려고 처박아둔 걸. 하필 내 유세 현장에 갖다 풀어놔? 너희들 일부러 그런 거지?
Of course,
내가
yes,
이
we did
병원
on purpose.
없앤다 그러니까 그 모질한 놈 하나 선동해서 일부러 나 엿먹인 거네?
I mean, it would be a good move.
엿은 드셨을지 몰라도 덕분에 아드님 상태가 많이 호전됐어요. 곧 퇴원해도 될 정도로.
당신 미쳤어? 그런 새끼를 누구 보고 감당하라고 밖으로 내보내?
일종의 심리극 효과인데 자신이 주인공인 무대에서 억압되는 감정을 분출하다 보면
됐고. 전국에 정신병원만 수천 개야. 거기 뺑뺑이만 돌려도 평생 못 나오게 할 수 있어. 내가
에휴, 자식한테 그러면 안 되지.
So that's how you got into the situation in the
나한테
first
쓸모없는
place.
자식들 다 필요 없어.
Instead of locking him up, just
Sure.
disown him like some other parents or whatever. Not that that's the solution. I'm not saying that. But. Ah,
자식이 부모한테 꼭 무슨 쓸모가 있어야 되는 건가?
야, 자식은 부모가 필요해서 낳는 거다.
no.
네 엄마 아버지한테 가서 물어봐. 아무짝에도 쓸모없는 자식 새끼가 필요한지 안 한지.
그럼 낳질
말았어야지. 이 새끼가.
I'm not your son, and I will hit you back, sir. Because I got a witness here that you struck me. I mean, granted, yes, politics might be different, and he can probably get by his way out of it. But like, sir, I'm not the one. I am not the one. You gonna talk about my parents, even though you don't know they're dead. Still, you gonna talk about my parents like this, and you gonna hit me. So when I shove your ass out a window, don't look at me sideways. See, if Moon Young was here, she would have just stabbed him with a knife, and we'd have been done with it.
Smile.
Probably why he told Sweet Girl not to call Moon Young. Like, don't bring her into this.
아 진짜 도쿠 좀이
했고요. 권희영 그 사람 이대로 그냥 두고 보실 거 아니죠?
두고 볼 건데
아 원장님.
와서 봐봐.
Oh, thank God. I was hoping you had cameras. Praise Jesus. Yes, release it. Oh, praise Jesus. Because I was going to say, if this whole situation happened and there was no sort of repercussions for his actions, I was going to go off.
보호사 주제.
이 동영상 언론에 뿌린다고 협박을 좀.
Forget blackmailing. I would send it to the media just because he's an asshole and he deserves what's coming to him.
공기도 환자야. 이번 납치가 전화위복이 돼서 차차 나아질 게 자명하고 그럼 내가 할 일은 우리 보호사를 구타한 놈에 대한 응징 아니겠나?
저는 원장님한테 뭐 잘못한 거 없고.
He's like, look, I always got a plan, baby girl. Even though you may not know what's going on, I got plans.
바다 이거 바다. 안녕하세요. 이거 가운데.
Gorgeous dress.
그네 밑에 그네 있고.
뭐야? 착한 사람만 보이는 거야?
바다에 바다.
It's like, ah, it's you.
마음에 들어.
With my idol.
10,000원.
아까 서 있으라며.
피자 먹었어? 피자 안 먹었잖아 피자.
아, 어떡하지 오빠. 너무 귀엽다.
솔직히 귀여운 건 나보다 뚜아치가 더 귀엽지 솔직히.
형 머리 만지지 마.
아직도 안 왔어?
Yes.
산책시키려고 왔잖아. 내가 약속 안 지켜서 화난 거 맞지?
형 잠깐 로비에서 기다려.
나 싫어. 여기 작가님이랑 여기 같이 있을 거야.
I finally met her.
말 좀 들어 제발. 가 있어.
He's like, look, I've had a day, okay?
형
너 누구한테 맞았어? 너 또 참았지? 얻어 터지고 또 병신처럼 또 참았어, 그치? 누가 그랬냐고?
네가 왜 화를 내?
뭐?
Because someone damaged my pretty property.
네가 맞았잖아.
She doesn't own him, but in her head.
마음이 아파? 아님 슬퍼? 지금 정확히 어떤 감정이야?
I mean, this is fair. Let's
No,
dive into what she's actually feeling.
몰라. 네가 지금 무슨 감정으로 이렇게 날뛰는 건지 너도 모른다고. 속은 텅 비었고 그냥 소리만 요란해. 깡통처럼.
Jung, aren't you calling me out like
그러니까
this?
아무것도 모르면서 나에 대해 다 안다고, 다 이해한다고 착각하지 마.
You don't gotta call me out like this.
죽을 때까지 나 몰라.
I mean, it might be true, but like, damn, you don't gotta call me out.
이렇게 표정을 보면 감정이 보여요.
말 좀 들어 제발.
짜증이 난다.
Yep, he fixated on that.
형이 밉다.
He does not.
밉다.
He does not. He doesn't hate you, baby boy.
왜? 어떡해.
이리 나와봐. 나오면 요거 줄게. 응? 무릎 거북이도 만들어 줄 건데? 강태 지금 밖에서 기다려. 너 혼자 여기서 밤샐 거야? 네가 가야 나도 빨리 여기 정리하고 집에 갈 거 아니야.
형은
이따가 내가 데리고 들어갈 테니까 걱정 말고 먼저 들어가. 자.
죄송해요. 부탁 좀 드릴게요.
죄송은 무슨. 가. 강태야. 밥 먹지 말고 있어. 내가 가서 쇠고기 죽이게 볶아줄게.
It's like, baby boy, this ain't my first rodeo. Don't you start ripping wings now, girl. Like, oh yeah, I guess I did say I was gonna do this.
혹시 모르니까 처음 몇 번은 내가 동행할게.
진짜 내가 어떤 애인지 다 잊었어? 아빠?
네가 왜 살아 있어? 죽어.
Now y'all see why I didn't want to take his ass out for a walk?
형님 도와주세요.
빨리 진정시켜.
Now y'all see why I didn't want to take his ass out for a walk. Fabulous. You gonna stop the bus? No? Okay. Well, you've been walking for miles in these heels. Just aimlessly. It's like, no, I don't want company right now, little friend.
네가 지금 무슨 감정으로 이렇게 날뛰는 건지 너도 모른다고. 속은 텅 비었고 그냥 소리만 요란해. 깡통처럼.
너도 죽을 때까지
Truth.
나를 몰라.
Why don't you give the story a read?
오, 야야 박규비 장난 아니야. 오우. 너 괜찮냐? 주리 씨한테 전화 왔었어. 너한테 좀 가보라고. 또 뺨 맞았다며. 진짜 그만 좀 맞아라. 나 진짜 속상하다.
It's not the slap that's got me like this, though.
야, 근데 그 고문이 형 그 여자도 자기 아빠한테 목 졸리고 난리 났었다며?
어? 언제? 누가 그래?
아까 니네 병원 배달 갔더니 환자들끼리 쑥덕대던데? 본 사람이 한둘이 아니더만. 아니, 딸이 얼마나 미우면 목을 조르냐. 걔네 아빠도 정상은 아니지?
최수야. 마이크 좀 쓰자.
야, 지금 밖에 비 와.
It's okay, I gotta find her.
야, 그게.
Assuming that she's still walking on that same trail. I mean, he's going out on a limb assuming she's still gonna be walking, but with the sort of emotional state she was in while walking, she could be, and yet she is. I don't know what she'll say or do, but get to her. She's like, I'm gonna just collapse right here. I've been walking for what feels like 3 days straight. Again, this show just knows how to create some absolutely stunningly beautiful moments. Like, there's so many parts throughout this episode that were just so beautiful to behold and just so emotionally just like, oh wow. But like that last scene we had there with Moon Young basically walking down the street for hours on end. Feet are probably blistered to high hell when she comes to, you know, next day, oh my God, like her feet are probably gonna be so sore. She's gonna need a massage and need to soak this, that, and the other. She probably got in like 30,000 steps. Her legs must be just ready to give out. But like, she was in such an almost like catatonic state where it was almost like, well, for a lot of this series, she's felt kind of emotionally withdrawn. Like she'll say these things, but it feels like she's so emotionally distant from just everything else when she's saying certain things. But like in that moment, she felt so just outside of herself. Like her body was just going on its own and her head was a million miles away, just trying to process. I don't know, because I'm not a mental health professional. I can't diagnose people with things, with conditions and whatnot. I can't. All I can say is from like my vantage point, it appears, and they did throw around, I think, episode 2 when the reviewer guy, before she like shoved him down the stairs, he was like, what if everyone found out that you had, again, I forget the exact terminology that he used, but lack of social skills disorder or something. I don't know. But like hinting at that she had some sort of clinical disorder. I don't know. I don't know if that's the case. I don't know what's going on, but you can definitely see that she has been emotionally withdrawn for a lot of just her life. And since childhood, we've seen all these interactions and all these flashbacks of her as a child doing these things, having these interactions with other people. And even though the character is smiling and whatnot, you can still see the sort of like vacancy in her eyes. They're just this emotional withdrawal. So I don't know if it's a case that she doesn't feel emotions or doesn't process emotions like other people do, or if like, I don't know what it is, and I don't know if they're going to give like any sort of official diagnosis for her throughout the show. I don't know. But what we can say is she has gone through a lot of her life kind of just almost doing what she thinks is what she thinks normal people do, in a sense. So like, she doesn't necessarily feel these feelings. Like when she was out there earlier in the episode, she's like, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. And she's like screaming and whatnot. Like I'm sitting here like, I don't believe a damn word you're saying. And you can see that Gang Tae he stopped for a second, but then he's like, and he kept on walking. He's like, I don't think he necessarily believed the words that she was saying either. And I don't know that she believed the words she was saying either, but it's almost like she had seen enough movies and TV and media to see that in situations like this, normal people, this seems to be a normal response that she's seen. So she's like, okay, well, he's upset, so let me try and fix it. I love you. And it's like, it's not coming from anywhere. She's just saying these words. And a couple other interactions like that where it's like, it feels almost like she's not feeling these feelings. She's not feeling necessarily these words she's saying. She's just saying them because she feels like that is what normal people say or do in these circumstances, if that makes sense. Kind of like, I was watching yesterday, I was on YouTube, I was watching Dr. Mike. If you don't know Dr. Mike, he's a magically delicious doctor on the YouTubes. And he does all kinds of reactions and commentary to medical stuff in television shows and movies, or he'll react to like Mortal Kombat fatalities and whatnot. But he was doing this big compilation where he was reacting to the show House. And there was this one scene in particular where there was a girl who was being treated in the ER, and they're like treating cuts in her leg or something. I think she just got out of a car accident, and like they're pouring alcohol in her leg and they're treating her, and you know, she would shrug, whatever. And House is just sitting back, and then he called her out. It's like, I think she's got this disorder. I don't remember exactly what he called it, but basically she couldn't feel pain. She could not feel pain. And he was listing off the reasons why he thought she couldn't feel pain. And one of the things he said was, when you were cleaning her wound, she leans into you instead of away from the pain, which is something that she wouldn't know any better because she's never felt pain. So she's only acting how she's seen other people act. So she's saying, okay, people expect me to feel pain in this moment, so I'm going to react as though I feel pain, even though I don't feel pain. But she's reacting in the wrong way because the natural inclination would be to move away from the pain versus into it, or whatever his explanation was. But that's kind of what was running through my head a lot through this episode, where it's like, it's almost like Moon Young doesn't necessarily feel, and maybe she does feel emotions, but she doesn't necessarily feel all of the emotions, or I don't know. She's a very interesting character to study, but it's like she's saying things and doing things not necessarily because it's how she feels, but she feels like this is what everyone else would say in this circumstance to smooth things over and whatnot. So this is how she's gonna say it, and it's just gonna be okay. You guys following and making sense? I know I'm just kind of talking gibberish right now, but so she spent so much time of her life just being withdrawn, and I don't know how much, like, I don't know if that's just the way she was born, kind of like the story, the zombie kid that he was reading there that got him all emotional and worked up. I don't know if it's a way that she was born, or if it was a result of things her mother did or father did, because right now we're seeing two different sides of her parents. We're seeing this mother whose face we never actually see. They won't show us her face for some reason or another. I'm sure they'll reveal that in due time. But mother who just keeps saying, "You are my greatest creation. You are my greatest creation. I love you," which, you know, could be taken just at face value, like she's saying, "You're my greatest creation," because technically, if you are a parent, you created them in your body and this, that, the other. So it could be something like that, or it could be something more sinister, supernatural. Again, don't know how heavily we're going to lean into those elements, but it could be something that, you know, maybe Moon Young was not born. Perhaps she was some entity created by the mother for some nefarious purpose, and that could potentially explain why the father keeps saying, "Oh, you're evil, and trying to kill her and strangle her when she was a kid." And then even then here again, like, "Oh, why are you still alive?" And instinct to try and strangle her. He feels that she is something dark and evil for some reason. And, you know, maybe it's just he is in some other sort of mental state and he is misconstruing the entire situation. Or maybe that was the case. Maybe his wife brought something evil into this world, or something for evil intent into this world, and he was trying to kill it. Like, no, she brought this evil into the world, but we can't let this evil stay in the world because it'll cause all kinds of mayhem and mischief. Don't know. So I don't know if she was born / made this way to feel this sort of lack of empathy or lack of just emotional connection to the human race outside of her, or if it's something that was a result of something, like she was born and her mother did something or cast some sort of spell or something for some reason, and that, you know, took away her emotions, her needs to feel this. I don't know. She's a very complex character, and I don't know how much we're going to explore that, but I'm very interested to see where we go with this. But enough happened in this episode to her to make her feel something. We're not sure exactly what the emotion is, because even Gang Tae pulled her aside because she saw he got slapped and she was getting all right. She's like, "Who did this to you? Do you tell me? I will take care of them, blah, blah, blah." And he pulled her aside and it's like, what are you feeling? Like, why are you feeling? Like, you're getting all up in arms and excited and hurt and blah, 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 blah. Why? Are you mad? Are you sad? Are you hurt? Are you upset? What exactly is leading you to get all irate that you're? And she couldn't come up with an answer, and you could kind of see the vacancy in her eyes and kind of see her, I guess, trying to figure out what emotion he is talking about, because I think he was trying to probe her, like, hey, why are you getting upset? Like, what is it that's making you feel this way? Because he's basically seeing her as not feeling anything, and she's out here making this big hoopla. And so he's like, you know what, you're just like an empty can. You don't, there's nothing in you to actually feel. You just make a lot of noise. There's lots of noise, just resounding echoes, but you're just empty inside. And even after he said that and walked away, like, we focused in on her and her eyes a lot, and it was almost like she was trying to feel something or trying to process. And for a second there, I was like, are they going to show her cry? Like, are we going to see like the single teardrop, and that's going to be like our hint, oh, she does have emotion? But no, we didn't see any sort of tear. There's just her staring, and it's like, okay, this is a good point. Why is she upset? What is she feeling? So I don't know what she was feeling in that moment, but there's a lot that happened. So between that and her father just kind of trudging up that trauma from her childhood, where he just tried to strangle her again out here in public, it worked up some series of emotion to where she's lying on the ground just laughing and crying and laughing and crying. And I think that was a really powerful moment, the way they did the editing there, where it started off with her, you know, we could hear the audio, and then all of a sudden, like, we're just seeing the visual, and they just had this beautiful kind of haunting soundtrack playing over it, and we couldn't actually hear her laughs, we couldn't hear her crying, but we could just see it throughout this beautiful soundtrack playing. And I think that was a very, very powerful, effective moment. But that combination of things, like stirring up that past trauma and then dealing with whatever she was dealing with Gang Tae, like, it was enough to just like trigger something in her where it's like, I don't know, but she just wandered. She wandered aimlessly. She just walked. If she could have walked directly into traffic, got hit by a car, she wouldn't have known the difference. She was just walking aimlessly. For a minute there, she stopped, she took her shoes off, and, you know, she was sitting there playing with the ant a little bit, but she was so, I don't know, she felt even more detracted than normal. Like, her body was just moving on its own, and her mind was somewhere else, trying to process, trying to understand emotions, I guess. I don't know. But whatever it was, Gang Tae felt stuff. He's been feeling this whole damn time. So after reading the story, and again seeing the flashbacks with him and his mom, and, you know, Sang Tae growing up and whatnot, and just seeing how he felt, like, as an outsider looking in, or as adults, we can probably look back and see that, okay, it's not necessarily that his mom was, you know, loved Sang Tae more than Gang Tae, or that she was out here choosing this one, but Sang Tae is a special case, and he needs a special kind of attention. And it's not necessarily that she was trying to leave Gang Tae out of that. It just kind of happened. So, like, as an adult outside looking in, I can be like, okay, she was just doing what she needed to do to take care of Sang Tae. It doesn't mean that she loved Gang Tae any less. It just, there were some instances where she needed to show more attention in this direction. So I can see that and be like, okay, but as a child growing up with that is a completely different thing. Even though as an adult now, I'm sure Gang Tae, having taken care of his brother for all of these years at this point, he understands. He can understand what his mom was doing, but still, it doesn't make it hurt any less. Those emotional scars that, you know, were kind of formed when you were a kid, they persist, they linger. So that story, you know, Zombie Kid, which was to anyone just reading the story on surface level, I could see why it was being banned for the children. Like, it was gruesome, it was disturbing, like, oh my goodness, what is this? But in the right context, like Moon Young was saying, just read the story. It's not I'm interested to see what your perspective is, because it's not about the words that are written down. It's beyond that. And yes, with the right perspective, as we saw, it's not a one-for-one direct comparison between Gang Tae's childhood, but like there was enough similarity to what was happening with the zombie kid and how Gang Tae was feeling as a child manifested as an adult, where it's like, yes, he related emotion heavily to that, which drove him to go, traipsing out through the rain and find her. And then he finally found her and they stared at each other for another 20 minutes. And then he gave her the jacket and she just collapsed into him. She just collapsed into him. First, they stared at each other for 20 minutes and then she started to smile and she genuinely seemed happy. And yeah, then just kind of collapsed into him and he just held her there. And it was just this beautiful moment. And yeah, it's such she is such an interesting character story, because at first she started off as just this sort of like, in my head, she's just this boss ass bitch who's like, yeah, I run this shit and like, I don't give two fucks about nothing. You can't mess with me, blah, 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 this, that, the other. And I'm like, yes, work, queen, work. And like slowly we're just like peeling back all these layers and seeing all of these childhood traumas paired with present day drama, and it's just like, oh my goodness, she's just such an interesting character study. And then with all of the other patients in the hospital and all of their various issues that they're dealing with, like, it's just such a fascinating show. I didn't even talk about the politician guy who came in here and started slapping bitches left to right. I'm like, if anything, he's like, I think I'm going to use this video, which I'm glad the director had foresight, because I'm like, if this politician's out here just acting this way and there are no repercussions, which would be true to the real world if we're honest, but I'm like, since we're living in this fantasy world, I'm like, if there were no repercussions, I would be so upset, because he was making me infuriated with the way he was talking about his son and children, and parents only have children because they need them for something. I'm like, that is a terrible mentality to have. And just the way he's talking about locking up his son and just switching psychiatric institutes so he's constantly locked up, and I'm just like, this man is terrible and does not deserve. No, I don't want him in office. Yes, make him resign, please. He's getting everything that's coming to him. So I was like, if he gets away with all this slapping and this, that, the other, I'm going to be terribly upset. But then the director had the foresight to record stuff, and I'm like, I wouldn't even bother talking about blackmail. I would just release this to TMZ or whatever the equivalent is over there right then, right there, and just be like, more proof that this man is awful. He's abusing staff workers. Like, here you go. Like, I would just put it out there, but that's just me. What else? We had a little bit of visit from Mr. Lee, which I'm always happy to see, because that man is fine as hell. And he seemed to have a little tiny crush on Jury. I don't know if that's going to go anywhere or if that's just for this one little episode. We'll have to wait and see. What else? Gang Tae finally got to meet Moon Young, which he's been dying for the last 3 episodes. So he finally got to meet, and he lit up like a light bulb, and it was just the best day of his life. And then it quickly made a turn because Song Tae met him. Gang Tae was having a bad day, and he was a little short with Song Tae, and as we saw, Song Tae hyper fixated on that one piece of it, not Gang Tae asking nicely, hey, can you go here, can you wait in the lobby, or after the fact where it's like, can you please just go. Like, my brother yelled at me, he looked mad, he hates me, just hyper fixated on that. And it's gonna take some time and coaxing to bring him down from that cliff and get him back. So thankfully Jerry's mom was like, I'll take care of this, you go home, it'll be fine. Anything else major happen? I feel like that's the majority of the things. Yeah, it's just such such a good series filled with interesting characters. And again, I don't know how heavily we're going to lean into the supernatural element. We did have that one little flashback moment with Moon Young holding the key, and on the other side of the door was her mom laying on the floor, blood pooling out underneath the door, which again, I don't know if that is Moon Young holding the key to come into the room, but her mom has passed for some reason, or if that was Moon Young holding the key because she did something to her mom and just locked the door behind herself and was just standing there staring. And maybe that's why Daddy decided, oh, I need to try and end this evil little girl. I don't know. But that's just a little another peek into her childhood that they gave us. So I'm interested to see where that development takes us. But yeah, I'm excited for the next episode. So I hope you guys enjoyed this reaction. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, turn on notifications to be notified when all of my shenanigans get posted. If there's anything else you'd like me to react to, be sure to leave it down in the comments and I'll get to it as soon as I possibly can. If you'd like to support the channel in other ways, you're more than welcome to join us over on Patreon. Don't have to, but you're more than welcome to if you want to. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Love ya. Mwah.